everybody? Welcome back. We've got another edition of the Detroit City Sportscast with I'm Adam. With me, as always, Garrett Cometz. Garrett, how we doing this evening, man?
Adam, I'm doing pretty good. Middle of September, halfway point already of this month. We are 6 days away till the official coronation of autumn, and we have we're in full swing now. We got football starting, we got baseball getting ready for playoffs, we have hockey about to start. There's it's shit's real.
I'm tired of this. Like today was too warm. Like I was like psyched when it was like in the low 70s, upper 60s, like
Yeah.
last week, and I don't know. I'm like done with the 80-degree weather bullshit right now. So, anyways.
I'm actually, yeah, I was gonna say, although for me, I actually, this, for those that don't know, for many years I was driving a absolute beater of a car. Um, Kind of got into a wreck, and unfortunately, my goal of making it to 200,000 miles ended at 195. So now I actually have a car with working climate control and air conditioning. So I did have the air on the ride home tonight, and I was actually like, you know what, this is cool. Please, so
Living it up with AC in your car now. Imagine that.
first at that and Bluetooth on my console, first world as fuck.
You are that vampire meme of them like the aristocrat meme, like looking over all the peasants who also drive with air conditioning and
Yeah.
Bluetooth.
Is that from
Garrett,
what is that from Underworld?
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Exactly. 100% know exactly what you're laying down. I got that real
Well,
good.
well, we've got a couple of things to get to tonight. We do have a full show. This isn't a quick cast or anything like that. We have a full Detroit City Sportscast tonight, which we thought we would take advantage of the off night tonight. No Tigers, no Lions, no anything else happening tonight. It's a complete off night except for us because we are recording, we are broadcasting tonight. Um, but we got to get into the Lions. Big win over the Chicago Bears yesterday. 52 to 21, coming off that very disappointing week one loss to the Green Bay Packers. Jared Goff was magnificent yesterday, throwing five touchdowns, three of those touchdowns to Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jameis Williams. Um, more big plays from them. Gibbs ran for 94 yards and a touchdown. Williams had over 100 receiving yards. Um, on defense, Brian Branch was, like a missile out there at times. Multiple tackles for loss, sack, forced fumble. Um, he looked really good. Again, it was really just a standout performance all around, Garrett. It was kind of a 180 from that week one game against the Packers. What are your initial thoughts on what we saw yesterday though from the Lions?
I think when you and we stressed this, I stressed this in Molding after the Green Bay game. I think I can understand why people had a lot of panic after week one because they were just so caught off guard. But I think if you watch Thursday night football, Packers Commanders at Lambeau, Green Bay pretty much did the same thing to Washington, except Washington, maybe converted a touchdown more with the amount of times in the red zone for us was similar. It's just when you're in a new offensive coaching system, when you're in a new defensive coaching system, and your starters aren't playing preseason football, you're going to need more time to gel. And home opener, almost 8 months to the day since your playoff exit there, you roll the blueberries out. A lot of people want asking questions, and this team answered. And I think this team, and I think it's something of when they had the rough start in 22 and how they reacted. This group team, when they are cornered, is we see some of their best performances. And prime example yesterday. I don't consider this as the Chicago Bears being a bad team. I consider this this showed our strengths more than the Bears' weaknesses. I feel like, which is a good sign there. I mean, but you look at its balance. I mean, golf, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think it was what, 23 of 28. Or it's 22 of 27, 23 of 28, somewhere along those lines. Um, I mean, Gibbs had 94 yards. David Montgomery 57 yards, both with touchdowns. Jameson Williams, you said 100 yards for receiving, two catches.
Yeah.
Two catches,
Yep.
64 yard, 47 yard. Like it was just, it's whatever. It's like they have found their formula. And if you think about it, it's like Sam Laporta had a little bit, but Brock Wright had a good game. Isaac Tesla with another sick catch. Um, it's You look at that offensively and you're like, all right, they were able to do something. They were able to put the game in. I think there was some stats too that it was a 500 yards of offense, something along those lines, which I don't think was done under Ben Johnson. Um, and I thought I saw something related to that. But then you go on the other side of the football. 4 sacks by the defense. Davenport, Hutchinson, Branch, Al Qadim Muhammad, Branch with the forced fumble, Jack Campbell with the recovery, Kirby Joseph with an interception. Um, and yeah, you gave up 21 points. Part of it was late. But when you look at the control of the game by the Lions throughout, yeah, they scored 52. They could have scored more because those first couple of drives, they had what, 1 or 2 consecutive drives where they didn't really get anything out of it with a 1 score lead. So I think this is a more realistic take of what we can see from this team. And that crowd was bumping. And it was really great to see.
Last time the Lions lost two consecutive games was October 30th, 2022, a 24-6 loss to the Dallas Cowboys in week 8, and then November 13th, 2022, a 31-30 loss to the Chicago Bears. Um, and it's really quite remarkable too, like how far this team has come since then. And even Dan Campbell said it after that loss in the week leading up to yesterday's game against the Chicago Bears. He pretty much guaranteed a victory. He says we will win this game. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit because we have to win this game. And
Hmm.
the team answered the call. And I mean, it looked like a team that was trying to make a statement. Even Ben Johnson, mentioned after the game, when he was talking with the media, I think it was Jeff Rager from 97.1 that, um, basically, first he asked him basically how demoralizing that loss was. And then Ben Johnson was like, well, it's not demoralizing at all. It was, there's some things we need to work on, yada, yada, yada. And then, Rieger asked him, whether or not he thought that Dan Campbell and the Lions were trying to run up the score on him. And because of those late touchdowns, and Ben Johnson came back and said, no, they just don't kick field goals. That's not what they do. And I mean, if anybody knows the makeup of that offense, and what Dan Campbell likes to do on offense, it's Ben Johnson. I mean, he knows exactly, what Dan Campbell wants to do on the offensive side of the ball. And that's exactly what happened too. Um, do I think that Dan Campbell wanted to run up the score yesterday? Yes, I do, because that's what Dan Campbell and the Lions will do to you on offense. If they have a chance to run up the score on you, then they absolutely will run up the score on you. Uh, it doesn't matter if it's Ben Johnson or Andy Reid or um, Sean McVay. It doesn't. It does not matter. if the Lions have the opportunity to run up the score, they're going to do that. And that's exactly what happened yesterday against the Bears. And I'll
I
tell you
think it
what, I
kind of
love
needed. I think you almost. I was going to say you kind of almost need running up the score. You needed to go out and remove and wipe away as much doubt and concern that people would have after Lambeau. So
absolutely, absolutely.
to do that is continuously putting touchdowns in the scoring.
It was a statement. They needed to make a statement. They needed to make a statement for themselves, and they needed to make a statement for the rest of the NFC. To let everybody know, like I said, including themselves, that this is still the Detroit Lions, and this is probably one of the top three offenses in the entire NFL. Um, Probably the best offense in the NFC North. I don't care, what happened week one or anything like that. When this is, um, when it all comes down to it, I mean, I still think the Lions are going to win the NFC North. And I know, it's only week two right now, but still, I think that this still goes through. The NFC North is still going to go through Detroit. And yesterday helped reaffirm that. I know, again, it's early. I understand that, but we knew how good this offense was, even after
Mhm.
that loss to Green Bay. And they certainly showed it. Now, I mean, again, it is only Chicago. Um, and Chicago is, who knows where they're going to be at the end of the year. They could very well be, a bottom 10, a bottom five team in the entire NFL. But still, I mean, you go out and you put 50 plus on any NFL team, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah. And I think the Bears often, when you look at their game against the Vikings, they for 3 quarters they were or 2.5 quarters they were the better team against Minnesota. So it's not like that's what I'm saying. It's not like this is a when we beat up on Chicago just before Christmas last year. I think they are a little bit better and they will be better in a couple weeks. That's where I feel like getting 50 on them as consecutively is something to like not take lightly. This is something to feel good about, folks, especially when you talk about the North, and then we'll move to the next topic. What happened on Sunday night in Minnesota? Um, that's alarm bells if you are not a Detroit Lions supporter or in that organization to me. Because if the Falcons are doing that to Minnesota, focus on your games and play your games. I'm not worried.
Well, what did we mention? What would you talk about on the phone last night? I mean, JJ McCarthy is not an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry. And we saw it last night. What do you have, like zero touchdowns and was it
They
three
just zero.
turnovers?
It's zero touchdowns, but not only that, you've had to one or two offensive lines people were out during that game. You lose your center to a concussion, so you have everything line people that you rely on for everything, and they didn't have an answer for Atlanta's front defensive schemes. Then you lose Aaron Jones to potential hamstring, which
And
means you're going to
JJ
put more pressure on him.
and JD McCarthy's going to be out too. It came out today that I believe it's a ankle issue, I believe. So he's going to be out, I think, for at least week three. Um, I
So
don't
that
know as
means
far as,
Carson Wentz, and yeah, that'll mean
yeah, I don't
Carson
know. And
Wentz.
you know what? Minnesota might be better off with Carson Wentz. And this isn't a knee-jerk thing too from me. I mean, I've said it before that I don't believe in JJ McCarthy. I don't believe that he's going to be able to make that jump from college to the NFL. So,
So you
I
mean to tell
mean,
me I might not need to bench T.J. Hawkinson after him giving me only 3 points in my league yesterday?
well, whoever, I mean, if JJ McCarthy is going to be the starter there, he's going to have to lean on, you know, a guy like TJ Hawkinson if he's going to be successful. So, um, couple of other things here when it comes to the Lions yesterday. Brian Branch and Jamison Williams fined coming out of week one. Was it 23,000 for face masking and taunting for Branch and Jamison Williams fined I think just over 11,000 for taunting. And that fine for Jamison Williams. I'm sorry if that is a fine, if that's punishable by the NFL, then I'm sorry, the Lions are going to have a shit ton of fines this year because I think that's the league just targeting Jamison Williams. I thought that that was complete and utter bullshit on his part or on the league's part to sign him or not sign him, but to fine him for that.
What do you
And if it
feel
was
about
any,
Branches?
I mean, when you're putting
It's
a
tough
player in
because he got
danger,
the 15-yard penalty, which I think did turn the tide of the game.
yeah. Um, I think it was more warranted than Jamison Williams, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because
Um,
I don't even remember what JMO even did to get a damn fine.
exactly. Nobody like if you go to I can't remember if I put it up on the majors. I believe I did. So if anybody out there wants to go see it, it's up on Detroit.majorsports.com. You can go and look at the video from it. It is bullshit because if it was anything more, like if there was a deep-seated issue to what Jamison Williams said during that play to warrant the fine, then more would have came out about it, or more would have come out about it. But nothing else has surfaced with it, which just again leads you to believe it was mundane bullshit that happened during that play. So I mean, it's just it's I if I just think it's the league targeting a specific guy like Jamison Williams, who has a little bit of a history, obviously. But again, shit like that is just completely unfair. And like I said, if that warrants a fine, then the Lions are going to have a shit ton of fines this year. Couple of other things with the Lions. Real quick, Garrett, what'd you think about the fuck Ben Johnson chants?
Detroit, not just Detroit Lions fans, Detroit sports fans say what's on their mind. Regardless if you're in the city native, if you're in the suburbs, if you got and whether if you have that so-called liquid courage or if you don't need it and you just have that energy pent up, they're going to tell you how you feel. And a lot of people are felt wronged about how the Ben Johnson circumstances, interviewing with teams while we're in a big playoff game, and maybe trying to look too pretty with play calling, which set us back. So I get that frustration that some people have about that. I also get some of the frustration maybe that Jared Goff felt about the chance. I know you made a good that was posted. We posted that last night. It's so I mean, I don't people are going to feel things about this. It's on one hand they said what they do and Goff spoke what he did. It is what it is. It's like when Matt Stafford came back for the first time and it was a playoff game. Nothing personal, just business.
I saw this one tweet on Twitter, and it was like the tweet of the day. Like somebody was coming out scolding Lions fans for booing Ben Johnson. And somebody quote tweeted it and said, "Wrong, we were booing Kelly Stafford's kids."
Yep.
That
Uh
was
who who is the ESPN reporter? We were talking about this yesterday in our convo. Are we going to be talking about how Ben Johnson needs Jared Goff, or is that narrative like I forget what the exact words are, or is that narrative only one sided? I think it's a very interesting dynamic, all of it,
I do too.
and
I again, it's still early. It is still very, very early. But I mean, if Ben Johnson can't get things going in Chicago, then obviously it's going to be a bigger narrative moving forward, obviously. But
yeah,
I mean, as far as what the fans were chanting, I had no problems with it. I know there's some sanctimonious people out there that are trying to get up on their soapboxes and talk about, oh, we're better than that, blah blah. But you know what? It's sports. It's professional sports. Shit like that happens. Get over it. I'm sure Ben Johnson is over it, and I understand where Jared Goff is coming from. Jared Goff,
You
of all
know,
people,
you
needs to
know
be
who would love
diplomatic about it.
you know who would love those fuck Ben Johnson chants? The late great Andy Isaac. Because I woke up Sunday and immediately it was people dropping the Andy Isaac fuck the Bears clips.
Yeah, no, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
modern full circle.
Yeah, yeah, and it's again, it's fun, it's professional sports. That's the shit that happens in professional sports. There are faces, there are heels in any particular city, with the fans, and Ben Johnson just happens to be the heel right now with the Detroit Lions. So, I mean, people just need to. I mean, it's stuff like that that makes things fun. Um, and I
100%.
Yeah. And people are talking about their kids. Oh, well, it's supposed to be a family event. You know what? Shit like that happens. I'm sorry. I mean, people say mean things at sporting events to the opposing team. Again, get over yourself. If you don't like it, then keep your kids at home. Um, and this is us coming from a big a big Detroit City FC background too. So
Not just Detroit City FC background. We talked about these. Not just Detroit FC back. You are an early 2000s high school graduate. I am a mid 2000s high school graduate. The cultures that we grew up in, being professional wrestling fans in the era that we went, we got educated in ways that our parents then probably didn't like. But we're still at work. But we are. It is what it is,
we grew up
and
during
we.
the
That's
WCW days when they would just pelt the ring with trash.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
anyways, heading in though to last thing with the Lions though before we move on. Um, Moving ahead to Baltimore for next Monday night. Um,
Oy.
I mean it's gonna be tough. Baltimore, one of the what top
Baltimore with an
five
interesting
top
stat. Yeah, interesting
Baltimore's
stat
top
line.
yeah Baltimore top five team in the entire league.
Hmm.
Definitely a Super Bowl contender. Um, I think the most important question
First team in
coming.
NFL history. First team in NFL history to not be 2-0 despite scoring 40 points in each of their first two games.
And I think the important question too coming out, heading into next week is just taking care of, your own house. I mean,
Hmm.
did the Lions resolve what was wrong with them in week one coming out of week two? Because that's incredibly important. I mean, if the Lions go into Baltimore and have another game like they did against the Packers, then things can be even uglier for Detroit.
Hmm.
At the end of next Monday night's game. Um, are you thinking that
I
things have been resolved with this team? Do you think that what had to be fixed was fixed with them?
I do. I think it's going to be. I feel much better about Monday night in Baltimore than I do than maybe even a couple weeks ago when we did our preview. That being said, we both predicted that the Ravens the win this game. Not that I'm happy about it. It's just I have 2023 and getting bombarded 38-6 in my head. And an intense crowd, Monday night atmosphere, Ravens going in the all black. You know, it's a special occasion when they do that. Um, are we going to be in that energy similar to Lambeau and 2 years ago? Or are we going to be like that team last year that, regardless of whatever road challenge they went into, they got the job done? Um, and I think we can go toe to toe with them well. We need to play a clean game as much as possible, especially on the defensive side. There is some glimpses of how to shut the running game down However, we're going up against Derrick Henry. So guys like that are going to get their yards, get their stats. Um, but if you got 4 sacks against the Bears. If you can cause some issues and you can, make it difficult, you have a chance. So let's just hope it's that case.
Yeah. I am definitely feeling better. I mean, obviously you got to feel better coming out of, Sunday night or Sunday's game, yesterday's game against the Bears. Um, it was a huge win too, just because if they go 0-2, there was a good chance that they could be going 0-3 after next Monday night. So yeah, I mean what we have coming up is a, possible Super Bowl preview between these two teams. And yeah, it's I'm still sticking with my prediction that I think the Lions are going to lose this one. Just because it is so hard going on the road and winning a game in the NFL without playing one of the best teams in the league. Like I said, it's hard to win on the road in the NFL playing a mediocre team. When you're playing one of the best teams in the NFL, it's I don't want to say it's next to impossible, but it's a incredibly tall task. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens, obviously, and it should be a good one. Garrett, what do we have coming up next, though?
Detroit Tigers time because we got to keep talking about the Detroit's all of our Detroit sports cat teams. AL Central leading Detroit Tigers. We'll get into the on the field stuff eventually, but we need to talk about some pieces that came out last week. First saw this early, was it Tuesday or Wednesday morning going into the Yankees series in the Athletic, and we've talked, and there's been reports. We've seen some reports, actually, a couple of reports throughout the summer, and obviously a recurring incidents from a couple last year, which we brought up before on the Majors Detroit when the initial news came out of it. So, culture of this Detroit Tigers team. Um, Reports misconduct allegations, multiple reports allegations in the article of The Athletic that was talked about involving senior staff with harassment, abuse, and discrimination, which have resulted in some high level VPs within Illich Sports and Entertainment, and also potentially with the broadcasting thing resigning or being suspended. Um, Broadcasters, we talked last year about with Craig Monroe stuff. Craig Monroe is still facing those that legal issue right now of claims of sexual abuse. Cameron Maben is also was removed from broadcast. We're also seeing too, as far as age discriminations, lawsuits, and some legal challenges. While the organization is saying that they're improving policy and inclusivity, there was also somewhere I see where trying to think his name, was it Ryan Gustafson, Illich Sports CEO, had an interview last week, and it seemed like there was talked about on one of the sports accounts how it seemed to be some, while focusing on some points, it also kind of seemed like it was a little bit backs and forths on that too. Um, I'm going to hand this to you and feel free to also mention anything else that I missed. But we have talked with both about the wins and the Tigers, Illich run teams. And I also apply this to Illich culture, businesses that are run, people that I know that have worked under that realm. How it can be seemed like when you're working there, it could seem like that's control, right? You work for them, therefore, that type thing. Um, it's very unfortunate to hear a lot of these things that are coming out, but knowing how, when you read it, how shocked were you? Well, obviously, it's very like determined, but when we talk about the issues that we've seen with this, is there like, try you get where I'm trying to ask with there?
No, I do, and I'm not shocked given the timeline that we are living in right now, dude. Like it's like we are in such a fucked up timeline right now. especially in the United States, with everything that is going on. Um, it doesn't surprise me one bit because it seems like we're fucking going backwards when it
Yeah,
comes to, like sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, um,
wrongful
you know,
terminations.
wrongful terminations, this anti-wokeness that has become like a meme amongst, like far right chuds in our society. Um, just it's like I said, it's not a surprising aspect that something like this went down. Um, the racism that it's emerging, the bigotry that is, emerging once again in 2025 America. It is disappointing, it's scary, it's just a world that is becoming shittier and shittier to live in. So what I am encouraged by that, the Athletic was still able to surface this, bring it out into the public, and kind of, I don't want to say force moves to be made, but it I think it helped orchestrate some of these moves, by getting rid of some of these guys that and some of these individuals that were causing these problems. And one name that we also didn't mention was Sam Menzin, who was
Yeah,
assistant GM for the Tigers, who was, I think, resigned back in April, um, for essentially the same things. And with Maben too. I mean, it's disappointing that you have to hear something like that. Um, Cameron Maben, former top prospect with this team. He was like one of the
yeah.
main centerpieces that the Tigers sent to the Marlins for Miguel Cabrera. Ended up finding his way back to the organization later on in his career. Had a brief stint doing broadcast with the Yes Network, the New York Yankees, before finding his way back to Detroit and participating in some of the broadcasts. And I liked him too. I thought he did a good job. Same thing with Craig Monroe. I thought Craig Monroe, was in this organization for a really long time. Was kind of with those, was a major piece in those like gritty Tiger eras where um they punched above their weight. And then the allegations towards him were even more serious. I believe it was it like, you know, abuse of a like sexual abuse of like a minor or something like that. Like I want to say like in his native Texas.
Yeah. And there's the reports that came out last summer about that were very, you read that and you feel somber.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, it's good that steps were taken. Um, I mean, I'm not totally convinced that the issues are completely fixed, but I mean, you can sure as hell believe that there's going to be a bigger microscope on the situation with the Red Wings and with the Tigers.
and even
And
even prior in the organization too, we were talking about it. I think of how Al Sabato was let go, right, from the Winds, and that was what he was reported to, the reason why he was let go. But what other, it makes you think, what other instances before that, and much as this stuff here do we not know about?
yeah, that you didn't hear about. Um, I mean, you can't help but to believe that there were, other instances. As far as how many those are, who knows? I mean, Uh, all I know is it's just good that, the Athletic surfaced this report and changes, significant changes, meaningful changes, material changes are actually going to be undertaken. Um, just to, just have a safe and healthy working environment for everybody. I mean, that's ultimately what People deserve that. People shouldn't have to go to, their place of employment, whether you're working at, with the Red Wings, the Tigers, or if you just have some, regular 9 to 5 job somewhere around town. I mean, people deserve to be able to go to work and feel safe and secure and, not have to deal with that stupid shit that, you know, some of these, individuals at who are working for Illich had to deal with. So, yeah, hopefully it's just taken care of and, they could, s- you know, if they're still there, the other, women who are still there, hopefully they don't have to deal with this shit anymore there. It's just it's exhausting and it's tiring that we still have to deal with this stupid shit in 2025 and it's not getting any better given, like I said, the timeline that we are living in. The people who fucking run this country. And I mean, I don't want to get too political with this, but again, I think a lot of it just boils down to that. Like they think this anti-wokeness means, oh, I just go out and fucking, sexually harass, coworkers, and that shouldn't be the case.
So obviously, what we will do is I want to believe that this is a precursor towards change in a good light. That we can hear of more that these behaviors are being rooted out, not just with Village Sports and Entertainment, but with any organization that experiencing that, especially as you mentioned, we're living in 2025. Um, time will be the judge of that, and we will see. Hopefully, we don't have to bring this back up in a short period of time and be like, "Well, we were proven wrong." So, well, obviously, all of us can keep an eye on that. And also, I highly recommend people, if you have the opportunity, if you don't subscribe to The Athletic, there's always deals going on for Athletic. It's like the Sirius XM subscriptions, but you want to take the offers for the cheap deals. Um, Regardless of what sports you cover, whether it a fan of Detroit sports or even if you're like Adam and I and you have international soccer clubs you follow. There's consistent coverage reporting, I think, throughout. So that's my endorsement type thing on there. So um why don't we get to something a little with the Tigers that's gives us a little bit more joy, though not all the joy in the world, because we're 2 weeks. We are this week and next week's the end of the regular season, and as it stands right now, the Detroit Tigers, um, still plenty of play for left in the American League Central Division, and going in the Tigers 3-3 last week, Monday. I'll say Monday through Sunday. Two out of three at Yankee Stadium over the in New York. Two double-digit wins. The first time in Yankees franchise history that they lost consecutive games at home by double digits. Uh, Fortunately, they beat our ass on last Thursday, which also resulted in Sawyer Gibson Long going back to the IL 15-day, I think it was, uh, with a neck issue. 3-game series in Miami took place Friday through yesterday. Tarek Skubal started Friday, um, was down 3-1, and then felt something in his left side. Exited the game. I think just about as much panic online as people felt about the Lions losing to Green Bay. Although this was more like I could yeah, what is this? Turns out precautionary. Scooble will be making his next start on Thursday. Marlins, however, took Saturday via walk off. Tigers with a 2-0 win yesterday. But what it means is now 3-game series upcoming tomorrow through Thursday, Comerica Park. Cleveland Guardians are coming into town. Um, Series next week in Cleveland. So 6 matchups left. Tigers have a 6.5 game lead. The magic number is 7. So that is any combination of Tigers win, Guardians loss. And you have a chance for, if a Tigers sweep takes place this week, Tigers win the tiebreaker. You win the tiebreaker, Central's all but buttoned up. Adam, Tigers week that was had. How are you feeling? Are you concerned at all by anything? Um, 2.5 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays for the best record in the AL. The Blue Jays will, however, they have their game in hand. They are catching up. They are in Tampa Bay tonight, taking on the Rays. So by the end of this week, by after today, the Tigers and Jays will be playing the same amount of games moving forward. Or is it just really plain and simple as one game at a time?
I mean, it's one game at a time. But yeah, I am concerned. I mean, I think as it stands right now, I'm not picking this team to win a postseason series. I I don't have any confidence in this team right now to, go into, to play Seattle or some of the other scenarios or Houston or anything like that and win a series in the postseason. And if Tarek Skubal did suffer any significant injury, where he was going to miss time, um, I thought that was it. I thought that was it for the season. Like I thought that they would still be able to get into the postseason, considering the lead that they do have and just how much time is left. But I for sure would have thought that they would not have won any postseason series if Derek Scobo was going to be out. So the Tigers dodged a major bullet with that. Um, it's just this team is just it's such a wonky team right now. Like going and dropping two of three to the White Sox, coming around and then winning two of three against the Yankees, and then coming
Two
back
by double
again
digits.
and by
Two by
double
double
digits,
digits.
and then losing two of three to the fucking Marlins. Um, you can't do that shit. You can't do that shit.
Hmm.
Like you gotta beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. This division right now, the AL Central should be over at this point. There's no
Right.
reason why Cleveland should still, be within striking distance of the Tigers right now. This division should have been wrapped up already, and it's not. It's not because they filled around and didn't do shit at the trade deadline. And now we sit here we have to sit here and deal with bats going cold and then waking up again and then going cold again and in pitching that, it's still hit or miss sometimes. And it's
Pitching
fun.
injuries too.
And
Kyle
then
Finnegan.
pitching, yes, and then injuries as well. And it's just, again, we if they would have went out and did some things at the deadline, some adequate additions to this team that could have, offset some of these injuries and offset some of these problems that they have at the plate with bats going cold, then I mean, again, I don't think we'd be dealing with this right now. I said it during that one show that uh we recorded after the trade deadline that look, I mean, you can't be an organization if you're serious about winning a World Series. You can't be an organization that is afraid to deal your prospects. You just can't do that. Teams that are afraid to deal prospects end up not winning anything. Um, and I think that's what this team is right now. I think this is a team that is deathly afraid of dealing any one of their prospects, uh, because they I don't know. I have a feeling they think they're going to hit on every single one of them, and that's not what happens here. I'm not saying you've got to deal Max Clark. I'm not saying you got to deal McGonigal, but I mean, come on, you guys. Like, there were other guys down the pipeline there that we could have dealt, it seems, because it is an incredibly deep farm system that
Deepest
we
in
could have,
baseball.
yeah, that we could have parted with to get some better pieces in here to help with this final stretch run. Um, We didn't get any bats. I mean, we dealt with some, we did bring in some pitching, but I think it was Pat Caputo who, was comparing the numbers between Charlie Morton and Justin Verlander, you know, since the trade went through when it's and it's he mentioned like, oh, we picked the, we picked the wrong veteran to bring over, and Justin Verlander was very much on the block for the Giants, and we didn't do it. We opted to go with Charlie Morton, who has
And
looked
Verlander's now willing the Giants into a potential playoff spot.
exactly. And again, I hate agreeing with Pat Caputo, but he's absolutely right about that. Um, Chris Paddock was, sent to the bullpen. Couldn't hold on to a spot. Now he did have some family issues, and that's definitely fair. Um, However, I mean, is he going to end up making his way? Is he going to win a spot back in the rotation? Who knows? Alex Cobb is done for the season. Alex Cobb is not coming back. Alex Cobb is probably not going to pitch another game in Major League Baseball. Um, so that was, an addition that was completely wasted. Now, in the fall of Alex Cobb, I'm not blaming Alex Cobb at all. I
He
mean,
did
that was
everything he
just
could to try to get back.
did
It's
everything he
just his
possibly
body.
could to come back. And yeah, if somebody's offering you 15 million for a 1 year deal and you're 38 years old, yeah, of course I'm gonna fucking take it. Um, I just think it hasn't been a strong showing with this front office. To make this team to to put this team in a serious spot to be contenders for the World Series because they're already contenders in a sense now. But are they serious contenders? I don't think they are.
Another thing too is these pitching injuries. You lose Jackson Jobe early with Tommy John. You've lost Reese Olson
Yep.
in July.
There are
You've had
already question
Mize
marks with Alex Cobb. Already question
yeah,
marks with Alex Cobb going into the deadline.
and just when you look at all the injuries gained during the year, Sawyer Gibson Long is not yet fully healthy. Just when you think he's clear, he's having issues again now with the neck. Kyle Finnegan was on an absolute
Tear.
I would say generational, right? But he was
I
just on
mean,
this absolute run.
yeah. Yeah, and Kyle Finnegan
Uh,
was a great addition for this team. I mean, when Kyle Finnegan comes back, that's going to be a deadly back end of the bullpen for the Tigers. Um,
but you need people. But the thing is, if you just got Jose Urquidy back, who's been dealing with Tommy John, but
mhm.
now who if you lose another arm, like is Scooble, yeah, he's going to pitch Thursday, but are we going to see any lingering effects from that? Or are you
Exactly.
going to try to um, we're one, and that's the thing is if that happens, you need the bats to click really now. You got Riley Green, who's having his best career year yet, but it's either seems a lot of times where if he's not getting these results, he's going to strike out
Hmm.
or, catch something and then you hear him just yelling an expletive as he's trying to trot out a pop up to first base. I think a bullet was dodged. Maybe not, or like a crisis was averted with Javi Baez from Friday. When you look at the line, the foul ball off of his top of his head,
Or his
and
face.
that
This
could have
came
been
off his
even,
face.
yeah. So that really could have been um the moment where it's like, this is these things here. It's like you got to get to the playoffs. And yes, we've had experiences in our Tiger fandom in the last 20 years where there's a Tigers team that limps into the playoffs. 2006 definitely limped into the playoffs. 2012 and 13 sort of limped in. 13 made it to the ALCS. 2006 went to the World Series. 2012 was inconsistent enough, but they went to the World Series. So you got to get hot at the right time. Just are we going to what we're seeing right now is I don't know if we're going to be in that. Right now is if you finish in this trajectory, you will and you win the division, you will be one of the top two seeds in the AL, which means you don't have to do the wild card, which means you don't have to immediately play host a best of three at home, um, and you can get a couple of days off. But is this the type of team where that extra time off will do them damage? or help them.
And we've seen it in the past too, where it seemed to have hindered them. I mean, we can look at some of those teams who, coming out of the
Oh,
AL
06 and
Championship
12, yeah.
Series, yeah, where it seemed like it hindered them. I don't think this. I think this team has bigger problems though than those other teams that, especially the 2012 team. So who knows? I mean, it's like I said, it's not a lot of confidence right now with this Tigers team. And if you're looking ahead to the Cleveland series, just don't get swept. Don't get swept. Um, like we are at a spot right now where time is seriously running out on Cleveland. Just don't get swept by them. Um, because
What
you
do you
take
see that series? What do you see that series going?
I think we take one of three, honestly. I
And
think
is
we
it the
take one of three.
obligatory schoolable? Is it the obligatory schoolable performance on Thursday?
Probably. Probably. I think we take one of
Uh,
three and we come out of that series with the magic number at five.
Baseball is can make you feel a lot of things, and we are now at the end point of the year where a lot can sway based off of results. One other fact, if you haven't yet, go. I forget who it was that posted, but I think it's on multiple accounts. Jack Flaherty's numbers this season versus postseason to teams that are currently in postseason spots versus teams that are not in postseason spots.
I know he's like a
On
lot. Yeah, he's a lot better against teams in postseason spots, isn't he?
a sub 2 ERA against postseason teams, which is tier one top shit numbers.
Yeah, which is I guess is ultimately good. I mean, maybe the Tigers do win the do win a first round series because Jack Flaherty's going to be going up against playoff teams, and
But it's more of his performances have been against teams outside of the playoff thing, and he's gotten popped, like beaten upon multiple times in this series, in the seasons. Like that's the tough thing. Flaherty is pitching. Was it Mize Flaherty Scooble? I think is the three. Um, I recall the I recall doing that in Moldy. Mize tomorrow, Flaherty Wednesday, Scooble Thursday. And then Friday through Sunday against Atlanta, it's Morden, Mize, Flaherty. God help us. Um, yeah. Do we by the time we finish up our because this is our last home games of the regular season, these final six. Is the division won by the time we are done with the Brave series?
um, hold on, let me look here. I just want to see what we have coming up. No, it's not because I picked them to win one of three to the Guardians. So no, I don't think it is going to be finished by the Brave series. It's
Yeah, let
probably
me
gonna
see.
it's probably gonna end up being finished by that second Cleveland series.
Squeaky wheel, folks. Squeaky time. Squeaky time. I'm taking a quick look here because I want to see who Cleveland has.
They have the Twins after this series with us, and then they face us at home, and then they finish out this year with a three-game home series against the Rangers.
And Texas, if I'm not mistaken, is a few games back right now. Is a game and a half back right now. Oh no, 2 games back of the Astros for a wild card, the last wild card spot
So that's
because the
good. That's good. The Rangers are going to be playing for something. The Rangers need to win those games. So
Mhm. Texas is 7-3 in their last 10. Yeah, because now you have a situation where the Mariners are leading the West now. The Mariners are game up on the Astros. It is Texas Houston. So there's going to be some potential movement. So the Rangers have three at Houston, three at home to the Marlins, three at home to the Twins, three at Cleveland. And then I want to also take a look here because this is the tough part also too, because I'm seeing like, all right, depending on how some of these series moves, this affects who we could be playing in the playoffs, provided we win the Central. The Astros three versus the Rangers at home, three versus the Mariners at home, three at the Athletics, three at the Angels. All division.
Hmm.
And I do not like how Texas is matched up against this too. Texas 4-2 against us in the regular season. So strap in, folks. Uh, be on the lookout. If there is, I will do our production note for those that have been with us since last year when we did a lot of live stuff near the end when the Tigers were close to clinching and then clinching. We won't be, I don't know if it'll be live, but it'll be a quick cast or instant reaction type stuff. If anything happens of good note, no crisis stuff. Not till next week. All right. You got anything else on Tigers, or do we want to go to the close and start shutting it down?
Yeah, let's start shutting it down. Real quick, Red Wings new uniforms. They released their Centennial alternates today, and oh my God, are they fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I might have to go out and get one of these. Um,
You've seen the cost for those, right?
I think like a Dylan Larkin one is like 179 bucks off Fanatics.
Authentics for Shop Fit Hockey Town. Current players are 295. Alumni are 315.
I think God, I was just on the Fanatics website. I think they had a Dylan Larkin on there for like 172 or 179. So I'm not gonna go get it from Hockeytown Authentics or anything like that,
Shop
or
Hockey Town. ShopHockeytown.com.
shophockeytown.com. Yeah, whatever it's called now. Um,
Um,
but they're amazing.
I'm re
They are
yeah,
amazing.
I'm really happy that they're not. It's not a one match, just a one game wear. It's going to be worn for some select matches. Um,
Why don't they just
yeah, I
like permanently introduce these as like a permanent third jersey? Like I don't understand why they just don't do that. Like it's a beautiful looking jersey.
we've talked about the Illich's organization earlier today on all levels and our prior conversations. So I hopefully public demand means that these sweaters, uniforms will become a more common thing. Because yeah, here's what I love about it. I love the old wing wheel. Love the old wing wheel. When it comes to the Red Wings, I prefer the smaller wing wheel than the current one. There's just something about that design. I know it's a little bit off. I know back in the day it was off center, and I also love the color, the red on the top instead of the white. Love that. It's it's crisp. I love that. Okay, there's the drawstring, but the drawstring's the same color, so
See, I
it
would
kind of
I
blends in.
that's something I would have changed. I know you and I are on opposite ends when it comes to the drawstrings.
I'm
I
not a
would have made them
drawstring guy,
I would have made them a
so
cream. I would have made them the cream color drawstrings.
yeah, or I would have just, fucked off with the drawstring completely because we weren't a drawstring team in the glory in the Hal Lindsey years, but that's a discussion for another time, or else we're here till 10 o'clock tonight. Um, I like the was it the Detroit is it Detroit Falcons Cougars tribute to the stripe pattern?
Yeah, they did a
That's
couple of
really
different
cool.
things in there. Yeah, where they did some different tributes to some different eras within the organization, which was cool. It was cool to see something like that.
Also the So the Centennial jersey schedule for October, so October 9th, opening night, they're going to wear the Centennials against the Montreal Canadiens. And then 2 days later, when the Leafs come to town. So that's in October. That'll be October. Those are when they'll be wearing them in October. Um, Also, another thing that I did crack a joke for in some circles, the priority sponsor is not in the front, it's
It's on the
on
shoulder.
the right shoulder. So let me ask this sarcastic question. Does this reverse the curse?
Maybe. I guess what we'll have to see. It could. Because this team has been cursed ever since that piece of shit sponsor patch went onto it. So maybe it will. And
I
speaking
can,
of speaking though of sponsored, like it was a nice touch having the that old school Meyer logo too on the
yeah.
helmet. That was beautiful.
It looks in. What did you think about the matte helmet?
I'm cool with it. I mean, the only things that I really would have changed, I would have changed like I said, I would have went the cream color laces. And then I think I would have I don't think I would have done leather with the patch. I think I would have done just a cream color patch with the red, um, with like the red C or the red A.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that
Do
would have been
you
sharp. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the leather on there.
do you see these becoming such a popular hit that these ones either become a full-time alternate use or potentially they do what we saw with the Bruins after their centennials, where we see maybe the reverse off-white version of these for 26, 27, or I don't know. I think it's a cool look. I think this is a good buzz thing. And I think even in their marketing video campaign today, that was cool.
You
With
know what?
especially ending it with Vladimir Konstantin. We haven't with this in the Fedorov announcement. There's good things that I have not felt about the Detroit Red Wings
There's this
in
again. We talked. This team is just all vibes right now. I mean, between the Fedorov
or
thing,
Farman. Yeah,
yeah, the Fedorov thing, the Hockey Town returning at center ice, these new jerseys. I mean, they didn't do much in the offseason when it comes to actually making the roster better. But holy shit, everything else they're doing is right though. Um, yeah. I mean, oh my God. If all that can go with them making a run to the playoffs this year, holy shit. Um, that would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that, when people finally be able to see these jerseys in game action. I hope there is a big outcry that, they stick around and they wear them a little bit more. And you know what? If I was in charge too, I would introduce a lighter version of it as well, so you can wear it on the road for some games as well. Like
uh,
an all
that
cream and then the red. Yeah, just like a total reverse of
off
what we see right now with the red. So they would essentially have four different jerseys. And
red lids though with these. If you wear the off white, wear it with red lids.
oh yeah, all of it, every single jersey except except the regular away jersey that can be a white helmet. Every other helmet though, it needs to be a red helmet.
Let me ask. I don't. Since we're talking vintage uniform Red Wing question, we might have asked this over the air. White Red Wings jersey, which one do you prefer more? Do you prefer the current one with obviously there's the much more red in the ones since the late 50s, early 60s, where it's the bigger red across the shoulders? Or do you prefer the OG 50s era white, where it was basically the reverse home? So it was a white with just a little red, like, you know,
So you're
pattern.
basically asking
Not
if I like the red jerseys or the white jerseys?
No, I'm asking you, do you like the OG Hal Lindsey era whites that was mostly white with that little bit of red at the elbow, or the current era white that's been worn since like the late 50s, early 60s, where there's a lot more red in that forearm elbow area that we've.
I think I like, more red just because I think the less I don't like I like all white jerseys, but I do like some different design aspects to them though. Because if especially when you're dealing with you got to be careful with white because if there's too much white it looks like a practice jersey.
We're going to need over the course of the year, whenever you to like go back for some major TV graphics and some Red Wing poll. We haven't done a good Red Wing uniform poll over the years. Maybe our thing to tie in the Centennial stuff. We're big hockey nerds here, even though this team is not giving us hope on the ice. Off the ice, like you said, Aura Farm. And soon we'll talk. Soon it'll be regular season time and all that jazz. Fuck, that's 5 weeks away. Jesus, wait, not even 5 weeks away. Shit, 3 weeks away. God
Can't
damn
wait.
it.
Can't wait.
Oh God, can't wait to be disappointed again. Um, Speaking of disappointment, I'm going to go to college football.
As a Central grad, you are
As a
disappointed.
as a Central Michigan University football grad, times have been rough lately. Um, Obviously, I get it. I was an alumni during a student there during the glory years of Central Michigan football. I will always have those memories. One thing I will also be incredibly thankful for is I did not watch since I briefly checked on. I got home Saturday um afternoon because I went to McShane's in Detroit's Corktown neighborhood in the morning to watch Crystal Palace take Sunderland, and then I did some errands and I got home. So it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock ish, right? And I turn on my TV real quick and I'm like, oh, let's just briefly check and see how what's going on just for shits and giggles. Central Michigan at Michigan Stadium. It was already 35-3 to Michigan, and I was like, okay, I've seen enough. 63-3. That's not fired up, folks. That's like no, that's just like that's a precursor to winter. But Adam then dropped a good graphic yesterday or was it Saturday or Sunday? When did you drop that uh graphic of the college teams
Oh, that
and
was
how
Saturday. Yeah, that was Saturday.
Saturday. You got him up?
The graphics,
Yeah.
I could. Are you looking to do like the finals, the scoreboard?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want me to read them through?
Yeah, why not?
What Wayne State lost to Finley, 7-3. I
Findlay,
know we,
Ohio.
yep, got a lot of Wayne. I know we had a lot of Wayne State fans out there. Central Michigan, 63-3 losers to number 23 Michigan. And I don't know how Michigan goes and, does that to, basically Michigan Light because it wasn't Central Michigan that allowed Connor Stallions on their sideline, and all of a sudden, they get zero return from that except a beat down from the Wolverines. Michigan
Yeah.
State beat Youngstown State 41-24. Scrappy game from Youngstown State though. They just would not go away. And Michigan all of a sudden now 3-0 to start the season, or Michigan State 3-0 to start the season. Um, Iowa put a pounding number nine, or not Iowa, Illinois, number nine Illinois put a pounding on Western Michigan, 38-0. Um, so I don't know if that makes you feel any better as a Central grad, Garrett. Western Michigan getting shut out to the Illini. And then
We still
Kentucky.
we s- Central still lost to Michigan by a bigger score line than what Western did to Ohio State, national champion Ohio State. Granted, Western were shut out at Ohio State, but Ohio State didn't score 60. They scored just underneath 60. So, and this is not the first time this has happened, I recall that. So Ouch.
Yep. And
Um,
then Kentucky uh beat Eastern Michigan 48-23. So it was a bad day for the Michigan Mac schools Saturday.
you're fighting
My
alumni.
yeah, my alma mater, Eagles. Yeah, not looking good this year so far though.
Um, I watched I've told you yesterday. I don't normally watch a whole lot of college football a lot. It's like a big soccer guy. Saturdays are soccer things, and then once hockey basketball kicks in, I'm watching a lot of that, especially like with whenever the Pistons are well. So I've watched already. I could say a lot more college football already to start the year than definitely at this point last year. Uh, the Friday of Labor Day weekend, Central Michigan was on Fox Sports One late night game at San Jose State. Man, that hurt the Central won, but that hurt the watch. Uh, and I was did not see the game at Pittsburgh last the weekend before, but yeah, man, football is football's tough. College football is tough right now. On there, Eastern's 0-3, 73 points scored, 128 allowed. Western's 0-3, 36 points scored in 3 games so far. Granted, at Michigan State to start the year versus North Texas, and then at Illinois. So a difficult start to the season, difficult schedule for the beginning for Western, and then Central Michigan. Yeah, you're at San Jose State. You struggle consistently with that. Um, you lose 45-17 at Pitt, and then you lose 63-3 to Michigan. And I don't know if this is going to be, the tough part in that. We'll see. Um, we are Mac sickos, and we're not just saying and that because we are alums of Mac schools. There's something about Mac football. It's like being wrestling fans. If you're a pro wrestling fan, Mac football has similar things like that. That's just me talking out of my ass. Michigan State, real quick, get your thoughts. Come from behind win in week 2 against Boston College. 3-0 to start the year, 106 scored to 70 allowed. Um, at USC this coming Saturday. So you're about to start. You're basically going into conference play the rest of the year. At USC, at Nebraska, home to UCLA, at Illinois, home to Michigan, at Minnesota, home to Penn State, at Iowa versus Maryland. Do you? What are you thinking when you look at MSU based on the start that they had in the schedule they're about to go into?
I
Can
mean,
they do enough to be a bowl team?
possibly. I mean, these are the real barometer checks right now as you get into conference play. Same thing with Michigan. I mean, they've got Nebraska this weekend. So,
Right.
uh,
Nebraska's 3-0.
yeah, and these are the real tests coming up. I mean, you put some of these cupcakes behind you, and I mean, do I think Michigan State can get into a bowl position? Yes, I do. Same thing with Michigan, obviously, with Michigan as well. Um, my big
Was
thing
it?
though with Michigan,
I was
big
going to
thing
ask
though,
you, was the Oklahoma game the maybe they believe their hype and then the Oklahoma loss set them back, like, brought them back to reality a little bit?
yeah. Well, I just think that's yeah. I think that's a reality for Michigan this year. Is they're not a national championship team. Um, Are they a good team? Yeah, they're a good team, but I don't think that they're a national. They're not going to be a team that's going to be competing for the national championship. Um, One thing that concerns me about Michigan State, though, is what's going to happen with Jonathan Martin and whether or not that UCLA job's going to come calling for him,
Right.
because he is a kind of he is a guy out of his element right now. Jonathan Martin, he's not a Midwest, Eastern half of the country coach. This is a guy who came from Oregon State. He's a West Coast guy. He's more familiar with that part of the country, which is important when it comes to, uh, you know, making your roster, constructing your roster, yeah, and
Recruitment, yeah.
recruiting. And um, would UCLA be a better fit for him? Yeah, probably. Um, so I don't know. Is this something to keep an eye on? Because now there's rumors floating around that he is on a coaching list for the Bruins and UCLA. So I mean that's what I'm paying attention to right now, if especially to if if you're a Michigan State fan. So uh
Michigan's schedule, because I named off Michigan State, so I'll name off Michigan's at Nebraska this Saturday, and then home to Wisconsin, at USC, home to Washington, at Michigan State, home to Purdue, at Northwestern, at Maryland, and then Ohio State to end the years.
mhm.
Um, who do you see right now coming out? Who do you see taking the Big Ten?
it's it's gonna come down to Oregon and Ohio State, I think. I
Yeah,
still have no
Oregon.
faith. I still have no faith in James Franklin and um Penn State. Dude can't
Uh,
win a big game to save his life. Uh I think it's yeah, it's gonna be Ohio State or Oregon.
any other so far after the first now three is are we three? We're 4 weeks in. 4 weeks in of college football, three for most teams because we had a few games
We
start.
do week zero, yeah.
We had week zero. Are there when you looking so far, anyone that's blowing your mind nationally that you can think of, other than we talked about the Big Ten teams, but um, looks like there's still a handful. This is probably what most of the top 25 that I'm seeing here is at least unbeaten to an extent. Notre Dame is the first top 25 team to start 0-2, I believe, since 1988. I think was the stat line that I saw.
I mean that's what I'm really looking at here is Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame gonna Notre Dame. Um, I can't believe they lost that game over the weekend. I mean a couple of other things too. I mean, Georgia
Clemson's 1 and
Tech.
2.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Where the hell did they come from? Illinois even too at number 9 in the country. Um, Crazy to think about. Uh,
Iowa State 12th, or Ole Miss 13, Vanderbilt 20, Mizzou 23, Texas Tech 17 at 3-0, Utah 16. I mean,
Even
a lot
Texas
of
at
it.
2-1. Texas reminds me of like the Texas reminds me of like the SEC version of Penn State.
Yeah.
Um, just can't win a big game to save your life. Uh, Even though they did beat, you know, well, um, yeah, I think what it's going to come down to in the Big Ten, I think it's going to come down to Oregon and Ohio State. And I mean, like I said, as far as teams that are stand out to me, it's a team like Notre Dame. I mean, and they stand out to me for all the wrong reasons. Notre Dame gonna Notre Dame.
Penn State, Oregon this in next weekend. Oregon's got to go to uh
Happy Valley.
Happy. Yep. And Oregon themselves, does Oregon have a bye this weekend? Oregon hosts Oregon State. Uh yeah, that could be painful. That could be painful. Um yeah, and you do have number 17 versus number 16 this weekend in college football. Texas Tech hosting going to Utah. So there's some competitive stuff to get that out of the way. Anything else we want to cover at all tonight?
No, I didn't expect us to go that long on college football, so we would probably wrap it up.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just wait till we do that with college hockey or college basketball. Then
No,
you know
we're
we're
no,
really.
not definitely not
Uh,
college hockey.
but yeah, no. As I was gonna say, keep people in the loop. We'll be back with, like I said, for pro editor programming note. You might see us again. There should be a molding that'll probably be dropping before this. than this episode of Detroit City Sportscast. If the Tigers have anything breaking ground significant regarding the race for the AL Central, might have something pop out there, although it wouldn't be probably a live thing. It might be more of like immediate thoughts, quick cast. And yeah, I think that's other than it for some programming as far as programming stuff. Am I forgetting anything, bud?
No, I think that's it.
So you can check us out, detroit.themajorsports.com for all majors TV content, written and links to all episodes, video and audio form. You can also find us on YouTube at the Majors TV. Hit that like and subscribe button if you already haven't yet. And then also the Majors Detroit, wherever you check out your podcast in audio form. We are online on Twitter at TMSNX Detroit and Blues, also, which is the same handle for Instagram. The Majors Detroit on Facebook and TMSNX Detroit.bsky.social for all the skeeters out there in Blue Sky. And then you can find me, GM Comats, Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. Find Adam at TMSNX Adam on Twitter and Instagram, and same for b.bsky.social. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think you got it all.
Wow, damn, that's probably my best one yet. Um, so yeah, we've covered a big gamut today. Um, Plenty left to see regarding the Lions. Near to see what the Tigers' October plans are going to be like for the end of their season. The Red Wings are giving us hope off the ice. Can they do it on the ice? We'll find out in a short bit of time. And yeah, we talked a lot of college football tonight. More than most college football we've talked about probably ever. And we'll be back at it again soon. So for Adam Hernandez, Garrett Cometz here. Till next time, catch you later.